Welcome to the Lead and Learn Lounge, the podcast for paediatric allied health professionals who want to lead with heart, purpose, and a little bit of play. We're your hosts. I'm Lauren Haskins.
And I'm Marion Giddy.
This podcast is your invitation to pull up a chair, slow things down, and join us for real conversations about what it really means to lead in paediatric practice today. We're not here to hand out expert advice or perfectly packaged solutions. Instead, we'll be sharing honest reflections, asking thoughtful questions, and exploring the things that matter. From building inclusive teams and rethinking workplace design to understanding your own leadership style.
Including if you're someone who's wired a little differently. Whether you're leading a team, leading a project, or simply leading yourself through the next stage of your career, there's something here for you.
So get comfy and let's lead and learn together. Welcome back to another episode of the Lead and Learn, Marion Giddy and Lauren Haskins. Lovely to have you here, Marion.
Hello, great to be back.
We are both in a mix today and we are giving you a real snapshot behind what it actually looks like and feels like working as leaders in paediatric allied health. You know, we're both operating in our clinics today, so we are living it and sharing it today. Marion, you had a topic that you thought was good for us to talk through today. Did you want to share that?
Yeah, well, I just thought off the back of our last conversation, Lauren, I wanted to just explore, like, as leaders, for you, for me, let's share some of the ways in which we're drawing inspiration or maintaining and sustaining our personal energy levels as we navigate this complexity in these challenging times, and all of the updates that are happening in our industry and supporting people around us. Let's take it back to an individual focus. How are you doing that for you? How am I doing that for me? I thought that would be a lovely personal reflection to share.
Yeah, I like that. You and I met when we were doing coaching together, and we were put into a group together that has then turned into years working together, but developed friendship over the years with other business owners as well. And prior to us recording today, we were talking about how much we get value from having those conversations with other business owners, other like-minded humans who we can share. So I think historically that's where I've, gotten a lot of inspiration, is from our little community, our little tight group that we've had, just to be able to certainly it's never ever been copycat, in terms of copying what other people are doing. It purely is inspiration in terms of, looking at what that lived experience has been of, what's working well, what's not working well, how do we get those ideas to be able to operate on a really relevant level. I think that's looking like on the ground kind of, like what is helpful. So I think that to start with, just that context of how we initially met and how we started, sharing ideas. I think that's initially something that I find really supportive and helpful. Able to have those, we started our conversation today is going, I always look forward to these conversations.
And that makes so much sense to me. You're such a people person. You get so much energy from being around people, and I think it's such an important part of our support structure, isn't it? Is having safe spaces and safe people that you can come to and you can chat through things with and get inspired by, as you say, just rub ideas against and see what happens. Float
some ideas. What about you? And I've got some others as well, that, at that higher level, but what about you? What
I think
do you
for
find
me
really
at the moment, what I'm pretty into, like some people, I won't say everyone, certainly, but I'm loving the Formula One at the moment. I watched Drive to Survive a couple of years ago, and sort of that was my entry point in. I really didn't have any interest in racing cars at all prior to that. My husband did, and then I watched that, and I just think it's fascinating. I think there's so much we can borrow from the mindset of high performance sport and translate across to our industry, because I think that the way that those drivers are approaching their work, approaching their challenges is just really, really interesting. Mindset's a really big part of their success strategies. And as I said, I just think there's heaps we can borrow in that space. You know, they're under enormous pressure to execute at an extremely high level, and there's need for consistency and adaptability and flexibility. And I just find it very, very interesting. I think their mindset is very, very different to how most health professionals think. You know, we tend to be like, why'd you get into this? Oh, because I want to help people. We tend to be very other focused. And I think that in learning to be flexible as a leader, we can borrow mindsets from other professions and take the bits that work, and reading about Formula One or reading some of like the bios and just what some of the drivers are thinking and feeling and how they're processing, and then going, well, how could I do a little bit of that? You know what I mean? A concrete example recently was, you know, one of the drivers was talking about the pressure in Formula One, and he was just like, well, like he was, I think, being maybe interviewed, and he's like, well, of course there's pressure. It's elite sport. Like, that's not a bad thing. That's the whole point of like being able to perform under pressure. That's the excitement, you know? And it was just like quite often in the speech pathology or in pediatrics, we might hear people reference, oh, I'm feeling really overwhelmed by this challenge, you know, versus I'm just so excited to be experiencing this challenge or this pressure. That's where I come alive, you know? And it's just, I think a very different mindset, one that can be helpful to steal a bit from.
So I didn't realize that you had been getting into F1 and and motorsports.
I don't have the T-shirts yet.
As much as this, because you did mention it when we were in Adelaide that you'd woken up in the middle of the night and the racing happened to be on, and so you just happened to be watching it for the remainder of the morning. But it must have been that I knew that we were going to be talking about it a little bit today. I've got nothing to contribute to the subject except for on my social media feed yesterday, I was watching a interview with a race car driver. I don't know which one, but they were talking about when they blink. So down to the, down to the planning.
That was Oscar.
But in terms of that level of systems and awareness, you know, and he's like, of course you're not going to blink as you're turning a corner, but that planning and that, you know, that control to be able to
like traveling 40 meters during that period of time.
Yeah. And so there you go. I have got something relatable to be able to share, but I think, it's certainly drawing from other industries and that inspiration for how you can then relate that to your own personal and professional interest, I think is great.
Absolutely.
So there you go. I could relate.
There you go. Well, I think it just challenges this assumption that we might have that, you know, we can explore, how am I thinking about this situation? What are the beliefs that I have or the assumptions that are underpinning my response here? And whether that is, well, pressure is a bad thing, you know, or that a challenge is a bad thing, or, you know, that adversity frame we were talking about last time, you know, like just some of the habitual thinking patterns, you know, and when you hear someone else talk about their work, that contrast, I think, can be quite helpful for highlighting, hey, the whole world doesn't think like me. How else can I think about this that could be more resourceful?
So I find it hard because I have to work out what is my current special interest as an autistic speech pathologist. What's my current special interest? And is that because it's related to inspiration, or is it just that I'm obsessing over a particular thing at the moment? So I've got two examples to share with you. Okay. One is Peloton as a brand and as a service are my new favorite thing. So I am loving running, and I'm loving the whole Peloton brand as a whole.
Okay.
But I think in terms of how it relates to myself professionally and as a leader, the thing that I really value about Peloton is that they talk about structure. And so they talk about the structure and the rhythm that's important to be able to show up regardless. And you show up in your own way, and as long as you're showing up and you're building that into your day, you've already won. So it's whilst it's group fitness and that online group fitness, the expectation is that you show up because you made the commitment to show up. And so the structure and that is what I really align. But the other thing that I really like about Peloton, so this is where it starts to get a bit obsessive, and I can just talk about it for a long time, is that they have, as part of the ethos and how they operate, is that despite being online, there's that community that I value a great deal, but they also see you. So they have a system in place where if you show up to a live class, you get high fives, not only from the instructors, but you get things from the other people that are there, so that you see you're seen and acknowledged. So the way that I take that is just acknowledging what I do when I'm showing up to be there, but also how can I acknowledge others for when they're showing up and when they're doing their bit as well. So they're some of the things that I like to take on board. Plus it is, my other interests and things too. So that's one thing. In terms of the operations piece, I look for, people who I really admire in other business spaces that are doing great things. I love Zoë Foster Blake. So I think what she's doing in the skincare, makeup kind of space, and even entrepreneurial space, in terms of her writing. And the thing that really inspires me is because it's something that I feel like I need to do a little bit more of. I don't create enough space for it, is the creativity piece. So I think that, I can get very stuck in the weeds in terms of what needs to be done, as opposed to having that creative outlet to be able to do what I enjoy, what is fun and innovative, and that creativity, which I think she does particularly well. So that's probably the two that come to mind for me, is Peloton and Zoë Foster Blake.
I like it. I love that yours all about community. You know what works for you in terms of filling your cup, and for me, it's more that mindset work. And then, the other thing that came to mind is
right?
measuring my biometrics and using my Whoop. So whether it's this is a Whoop band, so it measures particular heart rate variability and resting heart rate and sleep metrics and things like that. And what I love about it, I've been using it a lot this pregnancy to sort of get some objective data to match with then how I'm feeling. So you wake up in the morning and it gives you little rings of how recovered you are and what it thinks you should do. Which I think when you're pregnant is just a bit of a joke. That's right. But I think, it gives me that daily feedback loop to go, hey, here's what's happening in your physical body today. Given that, what would you like to do? And it's a beautiful just point in the morning to go, actually, this is what I did yesterday. What would I like to do today? We talked it was either earlier this episode or in the last one about that intention setting, so as I look at the day ahead, given the data that I'm seeing and what I'm feeling, what are the choices that I want to make today? What do I have agency over that I can control or shift or influence? And how would I like to interact with my schedule to, as you say, build in the things that nurture if that's necessary, or actually just action the things that I need, or create space for the people around me, or whatever it is that is needed that day. So Yeah, for me, that's a lot of fun, having something that reminds me each morning to bring that intentionality in. It's so easy otherwise to just get up and get the day started. End up at lunchtime and think, oh, how did I get here? You know? So yeah, but zoom out again.
I think for both of us, I mean, apart from the fact that, it just defines and, shows us each individually and how our brains are very different in that space. But I think it's that reflection that we've both had about how it relates to other areas of us, so I think that you're naturally drawn to the things that you're needing for inspiration. I really feel that you see what you need to see and you are excited by and you things that are of interest. And then I like the idea of why, if you can then take that next step to go why and how can I use that interest or that that relationship to apply it to other areas of my life. So that would be something that I would challenge anyone that's listening, is to really think about what are you consciously consuming, and how can you relate that to what's happening in that leadership space, but also can you do that for your own personal and professional growth? What are you consuming that's inspiring you to support you and to help you to grow?
Very good.
All right. Thanks so much. For those of you who are listening, please continue to check out what we've got available in terms of resources and support in the leadership space and around leadership, in particular in pediatric allied health. We've got a lot of online resources as well as this podcast, but hopefully you're getting some tools and some information to be able to support you in your leadership journey. Thanks so much for joining me today.
See you soon.